So what is your vision of a perfect world? If the world were ideal in an area of great concern to you, what would it look like? Imagine that you could wave a magic wand and bring about the perfect situation, whatever it would be. What would it look like? When I was working with a committee in Washington that had been commissioned by the Congress to develop solutions to a perplexing national problem, we began with a simple question. If we were completely successful and all of our recommendations were accepted, what would America look like 5 or 10 years in the future? We spent several hours imagining and envisioning an America that was ideal in every respect. We then discussed and voted on which elements of this vision were most important. We organized these ideal elements in terms of priorities from the most important to the least important. At the end of this process, we had a common shared vision of exactly what it was that we were working toward. We then went to work on the problem, produced a series of thoughtful recommendations and conclusions, and submitted the entire report to the Congress. It turned out to be a tremendous success. When I work with nonprofit organizations around the country, we always start off with a vision statement. In this vision statement, we ask, what is our mission? We ask, if we were completely successful in achieving our mission, how would we know? What would it look like? What would happen? What goals would we have to achieve for us to be able to disband this organization and go home, content that we had been successful? Look around you in your society. There are many nonprofit organizations aimed at achieving a variety of social goals that need your help. Don't make the mistake of the average person who puts off getting involved until he or she has lots of money. Instead, invest your personal time and energy until you are in a position to invest your money in the organizations you believe in. Give of your time and emotion in a cause that you consider important today. Make this practice of contributing a regular part of your life. What are your goals for the type and level of contribution that you want to make to your society? If you had an unlimited amount of money, what would you want to do or achieve with that money in terms of improving your society or your community? And how would you measure your success? Andrew Carnegie, the great steel magnate who started as a penniless day laborer in a Pittsburgh steel plant, sold his steel interest in 1895 for $595 million cash at a time when there were no income taxes. Throughout his life, he had a simple philosophy. It was to spend the first part of his life making a lot of money, and then to spend the second part of his life giving it all away. He was famous for having said, "He who dies rich dies dishonored." For the rest of his life, he built libraries and set up foundations to help people learn what they needed to learn to be successful and happy. By the time he died, he had given almost all of his money away. Today, the Carnegie Foundations and libraries that bear his name stand as a magnificent tribute to one of the greatest businessmen and philanthropists of American history. John D. Rockefeller, who became the richest man in the world at his time, started as a clerk at $3.75 per week. Even at that small salary, he gave as much as 50% of his salary to his church every week to contribute to the betterment of others. The years passed. When he was 52 years old, he was extraordinarily wealthy, probably the richest man in the world. He was also extremely sick, and his doctors told him that he would die within a year. In his sickbed, he thought back on his early years and the pleasure he had received from contributing to his church. He resolved that he would spend his last year giving his money away. He sold half of his stock in the Standard Oil Company and turned it into cash. He then began financing worthy causes around the country. Something incredible happened. The more money he gave away, the better he felt. His health improved. His illnesses and diseases went away. He recovered completely. He went on to live to the age of 91 in excellent health. By the time he passed away, he had given away millions and millions of dollars. Meanwhile, the value of the Standard Oil stock that he had kept had increased so much that he died worth more in financial terms than he had been worth when he was on his deathbed many years before. Now,